I've been saying that I'm going to come back and do some of the Ioni collections that I purchased. And they're a little bit bigger, a little bit more time consuming. So I finally got to one, and we're going to talk about the Cherry on Top collection. I still have not found the pink cowgirl one. I've seen so many videos about it, but I think here where I'm at, things go a little bit slower. There seems to be a delay of when everybody else gets these things and then we get these things. But whatever here. We have this cherry collection with quite a few products in it, and I'm going to take you through everything and what I think of it, and a couple of things that I didn't buy and why I didn't buy them. But Ioni is always in its own little beauty universe, if you will. I've already mentioned before that I was told by a Dollar Tree cashier that the majority of their packaging is AI design, but it is very unique and eye catching and it's different, despite how you feel about those sorts of things. So, usually these collections are a little bit adorable, a little bit decent, a little bit chaotic, just kind of like a bunch of different things going on. But with this collection, and the name implies, you're going to get a lot of soft pinks, reds, neutrals, glossy lips, some blurred finishes, and of course, cherry themed packaging. So when you see it, you just feel inclined to give it a try and put it in your little green Dollar Tree basket, right? And as per usual, some of these things definitely do deliver. Others are just okay. Some products are more so confusing and or just immediately destined for the bad bin. But overall, it's, pretty effortless. It's not necessarily like a full glam, full beat sort of collection, but it is, wearable. There's lightweight textures. And overall, they're kind of aiming for more natural. Nothing is natural about makeup, but you'll see when you see like the finishes and where they are going with this if you are reading the Substack and looking at the photos. Now, with all of their makeup collections, they always come out with corresponding eyelashes as well. And I swore off on buying their eyelashes quite a long time ago just because I used to buy them every time they came out. They always did 15 new pairs with every collection. And if you buy 15 at a time, multiple times per year, where they come out with these things, you're not actually wearing eyelashes all that often at all. I think I probably have hundreds of these. I haven't counted them, which is why I stopped purchasing them. Like I literally don't have storage room to keep buying eyelashes and I'm not buying or wearing, but they are very good. I highly recommend them, and that's why I have so many of them. And if you ever do see me wearing a false lash, there's a 99.9% chance that it is Ioni. All you need to know. But first and foremost here, we have a brow pencil, and this is just a basic wooden pencil that you sharpen that has a spoolie on the opposite end. And I would say it's very middle of the road. So typically when we hear an eyebrow pencil review, we're going to hear, is it waxy? Is it creamy or like too emollient? Is it dry? And no, it's not overly dry. It's not that waxy. It's not super creamy either. So it's really in the middle. It works, okay? It just works. I do appreciate the spoolie. It's very helpful, of course. And there's nothing wrong with the end look. If you like the look of an eyebrow wooden pencil, this is going to work for you. Nothing revolutionary. It does the job. 5 out of 5 stars. It comes in 2 shades. They never do a really good shade range for eyebrows, unfortunately. You pretty much always have to be a brunette with Ioni. But they have medium brown and dark brown. I really do like the softer look of the medium brown for sure. And in this collection, they came out with a hydrating grip primer. Grippy primers are everywhere, right? And this one, I want to say be very careful. You take the lid off and it does try to just come out of the tube very quickly. It is crystal clear. It doesn't have any distinguishable scent. But I will say the texture isn't quite what I expected for a grippy primer because and it's already obvious, right? By me saying it tried to come out of the package very quickly, it is on the runnier side. So usually when you start to rub a gripping primer onto the skin, it starts to feel thicker and stickier right off the bat there. And that's not happening with this, right? we're kind of used to seeing those videos of somebody puts on a gripping primer and then they just start sticking stuff to their face. So with this, there's just a slight tackiness to the skin. It's not something that I can really like make the primer tube adhere to my cheek, right? But it applied fine over my skincare. It was fine with my makeup. There was no pilling. It didn't get patchy. I don't think it did anything. I don't think that it helped or hurt my makeup. It didn't make me oily. Now that's a pleasant surprise because with some gripping primers, I do get a bit shiny in the T-zone. So that's great, but I just can't say this is a true gripping primer. It doesn't get sticky enough. It doesn't extend the wear of makeup. So it's just an ordinary primer at that point, and that's why I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I gave 5 stars to the brow pencils. We also have a shimmer setting spray, and that's what I'm currently using right now to use it up. It's in my daily routine. So you're looking at the bottle of this, and it looks very heavy glitter-wise, but of course, once you spray it on with the mister, it's going to be much more diffused. So I have to look very closely in the mirror to see any sort of glitter or shimmer. So if you're really hoping for a glittery look, you're not going to get that with the shimmer setting spray. But I do see it much more like on my clothing when I spray it on. That always seems to happen to me with these like shimmery glitter sprays. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of glitter on the face, but it looks so much more concentrated on my shirt. That's okay. But other than that, there's nothing wrong with it. The mister is perfectly good. It's fine, pleasant, it's even. Has a little bit of a cherry scent when you're spraying it on, but it dissipates pretty immediately. It sets the makeup just fine, and just like the primer, it does nothing to help or hurt the wear of your makeup. It is just total status quo, and that's why I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I also don't believe that it made me greasy or shiny, and it didn't even alter the appearance of makeup. It's not really like I sprayed it on and went, oh my gosh, now I'm matte or now I'm dewy. So it just doesn't do a whole lot. We'll put it that way. Just fine for daily wear, for sure. And now the moment you've been waiting for, the cream eyeshadow sticks. So I did put a link in here to my other Ioni eyeshadow stick review where I reviewed all of the ones that have come out like in the past year. And it was a scathing review. And so scathing that I did see somebody post about it on Reddit. And I did say in that review that the next ones that were coming out, which was this from Cherry on Top, I knew about it. I would still be stupid and buy them. It's like the definition of insanity. I keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting something different is going to happen, and it's a disaster every time. So I always go on an emotional journey because Ioni just cannot make an eyeshadow stick. It is so sad. And this time around, this trial is very, very interesting. So as per usual, the formula just seems perfectly fine. It's creamy, it's easy to blend, you can work with it, it goes on the eye. It doesn't seem like there's going to be anything wrong. The core issue with it is it just does not dry down and set to the eye. Now I have eyeshadow sticks from Julep, Elf, CoverGirl, Revlon, and they stay on all day, totally unchanged. They do somehow set down onto the eye. And these just don't. And I can also say, like, after I put these on for some time, walking around, doing my stuff, I'm blinking my eyes, I kind of feel like my eyelids are, like, sticking together in the crease. Eventually, it stopped happening, or I got over it. You can build these shimmer shades to a point, but you can imagine the more you put on, just the worse the creasing is going to be. So when we think about the 3 shades that we have here, Shimmer Pink and Shimmer White, they are more of like a shimmer without a base color to them, so they're better as a topper. And I just applied everything here just like to my bare, well, I have primer on, but I didn't apply it over any color. So you can still see like that kiss of white, that kiss of pink, but they're definitely more toppers. But something I didn't understand about them is as you are trying to layer them up, and also when you're trying to blend them out, it's like it erases itself. I don't understand it. Let's just say they're both they're already in the bad bin. Shimmer pink and shimmer white, they are gone. And of course, they started to crease immediately, despite using Urban Decay Primer Potion, like the baddie of eyeshadow primers, right? And I think the fact that they do, like, they're that baseless kind of topper product, so they're sheer and just shimmers, helps kind of disguise that, so it's not as noticeable on the eye. Whereas if you were using like a matte, full coverage, bold color, the creasing is gonna be a lot more apparent. But still, it happens. I had to give these 1 star. I did. But I do want to call out something interesting. This is the interesting part. So when I first tried all the eyeshadow sticks, as I said in that podcast and that Substack, I tried everything. I tried everything that I could think to make them last. But I decided I'm going to experiment again. And here is the experiment that I did. So I apply a generous amount of Urban Decay Primer Potion to my eyelids. I'm sure you can use any primer that you like for this. Pat it out with your finger and then wait a couple minutes to allow it to set and to dry down. Then, this is where I feel you need the specific product. The Wet n Wild 5-in-1 Essence Primer and Finish Powder. It's a pressed powder. It's one of my all-time favorite products. I put major pan on it just because I love it and not because I'm trying to actively pan it, right? I have this Real Techniques, like it's like a dense but fluffy crease brush. They don't make it anymore. It's kind of domed. I don't think they make it anymore. And I apply that all over the eyeshadow primer. Am I applying over the eyeshadow primer, the powder, with this fluffy crease brush, right? And then I apply a light layer of the eyeshadow stick on the eyelid. And I use that same blending brush to blend it up and diffuse it out into the crease. And then another light layer of the stick just on the eyelid. And that's how I apply all eyeshadow sticks. And I'm using that one color, one and done for a complete look. I'm being extra careful to go in light layers with Ioni especially. So I did this, and it only worked with shimmer brown. Why the hell that is the case, I don't know. But I love this shimmer brown shade. It is perfect. It is just the perfect amount of shimmer. It's the perfect brown shade. I've been into wearing brown clothing lately, and it is so good. So I'm keeping it. The brown is the only shade that I'm keeping. Maybe it's a fluke. Maybe the next time I reach for it, it's going to crease, and I'm going to get mad and get rid of it. But I'm telling you, it did not crease. And I wear my makeup like 12, 13, 14, 15 hours a day. And I got so excited, I committed the sin of going to my bad bin and taking out the Ioni shadow sticks. I haven't donated makeup in a long time, so it's all just building up. I said, I'm going to retest them now that I got this primer and powder combo. Maybe I finally found the correct combo. Let me tell you, it did not work. And they all went back to the bad bin. So I cannot understand why it's just this one shade that works. But it does. So, but at the same time, that's pretty shitty, isn't it? Like, you should buy a product and have it work as designed and not have to add 5 steps onto it and buy specific products to make it work. That is still not a good thing. And overall, these are still sitting at a 1 star. So I can make one shade out of all the shades Ioni has ever released work, and it might even be a fluke, and I have to take extra steps to make it work. Not great. Okay, so pink and white, they're exiled. They are gone. Let's move on to something that's actually good. That's worth reaching for again for sure. The melting lip balm, because you just needed another squeeze tube lip balm. Like, you need a hole in the head. I know you are so tired of these, but Ioni has it now, and we gotta try it. So I love a lip product like this. I love something, and I was never into glossy lips, but I've really gotten an appreciation for products like this. Life is very busy and moves fast, and sometimes it is nice to have something that you don't need a lip liner, you don't need a whole lip routine, you don't even need a mirror, that you can just pop it on and hope that you're doing it in the lip line and you have that one and done look. I've come to appreciate that on a day-to-day basis. So these are very glossy, they're very shiny and juicy, but they're also going to give your lips that visible, very visible wash of color. It's definitely there. They're a bit on like the stickier, thicker side, but they're not like heavy, uncomfortable, gloopy. You can sometimes see as you open and close your mouth that product pooling at the inner lip. I know a lot of people don't like that, but in this case, it didn't get messy or get like that disgusting kind of look. You know what I'm talking about? So, you know, this is where these reviews are so important to kind of evaluate if you think you're going to be okay with this or if you're not. I mean, it's $1.25. You're not getting like a road lippy here. I've never tried Rhode, by the way. I feel kind of just annoyed by the entire brand. But that's probably for another day. So, with all that being said, this thicker texture works in its favor because it's going to take a longer time for it to fade, but it is going to fade, and it's going to do that very gracefully, not in like an awkward, patchy sort of way. And after it wears off, I can still, like, my lips feel a bit hydrated, and a little bit of that shine, just a subtle little hint of that shine sticks around. If you want to reapply this, you can because it wears off in that way, right? You can put it on and it's not going to get gummy or gunk up or anything like that. So I think for the price point for what it is, 5 out of 5 stars. I love the shade Shortcake, and I almost like rewore it on an important day. So to me, it is that good. And then we also have the shade Wild Cherry. I am just not into red lips. And I think I've mentioned that before, but when I'm on Substack and I'm scrolling through my feed, there is just an ungodly amount of red lipstick content for every reason. Like, it's empowering to wear, or I need a special occasion to wear this, or I just found out I don't need a special occasion to wear this. Just like topics like that. And I'm just like, I don't get it. Just wear whatever color when you want to. Why is this content? But I just personally, you know, at my age, in my 30s, and I've been wearing makeup for a long time, and I feel like I'm finally coming to understand like what I like and what I feel the most confident and comfortable in. I tend to like my makeup looks less when I have a red lip on or when I have on a dark lip color. I know we didn't need this blurb in here today, right? But I just do not gravitate towards all these reds, and there seems to be a red in every collection nowadays. But I think that red lips have their own moment. They have a place in time. There are certain looks and outfits that you do that really need like an iconic red lip, and I'll do it then. So I pretty much only wear it when I'm testing something, and I even dread testing red lip color, or it goes with the overall look that I'm doing that day. But let's move on here. We have soft lip veils at Dollar Tree. What does that mean? Well, these are very similar to some things. I want to say that like Maybelline, CoverGirl for sure has them. These are soft blur matte lipsticks. If you're thinking Wet n Wild and why am I not mentioning their soft blur lipsticks, these are even lighter in color and even more blurred than those. Well, lighter like in pigmentation, right? So these have a buildable medium coverage. They're only going to build so far, right? So they're more sheer. They are very matte, and they have that blurring look to them, that soft blurred look around the edges. And I consider it to be kind of like Just Bitten. I hope that's a good way to describe it, of course. The formula is not going to dry out the lips. I know in one of the pictures my lips look kind of chapped, but sometimes my lips are just all over the place in how they are, you know, condition-wise, and it has nothing to do with the product I'm testing that day by any means. And sometimes, you know, these types of lipsticks do dry out the lip, so that's good to note. They will accentuate your lip lines a bit, like any kind of texture you have on your lips. So, I mean, like, what matte lip product doesn't do that to some extent? I noticed something kind of weird with these. Sometimes, there's 3 shades here, so I tested these for 3 days. Sometimes, only on the upper lip, around the lip line, it was looking like a pilling kind of look, crumbly. But everything else was holding on well. And I can't think of another time I've experienced that with a lip color. So I don't know what's going on there or why, or if that's a fluke. I don't know. But I did want to mention that. So I gave these 4 out of 5 stars. And the shades here, we have Mon Cherie, Nude, and Poppy. We're almost done here, I promise. we have Blush Butter Balm, 2 shades, and these are very, very tiny potted blushes. So if you thought the Wet n Wild Mother Fluffer line was very small, these are small. So you definitely are going to need a makeup brush that is small enough to fit in this pot that also works with creams. Of course, you can use your finger and apply these as well, but you may not want to stick your finger in there for sanitary reasons, especially if you have longer nails. The formula, it is very soft, it's creamy, it's easy to blend. It really spreads across the skin nicely. It doesn't lift your foundation, your coverage up. It has a slight dewy finish to it, remains a little bit tacky. And these shades, you can tell they're on purpose not supposed to be very heavy blushes. You're not going to get that visible blush moment that I've personally been really into. So you can build the color only to an extent. It does have a ceiling, so it's not going to be intense. And a lot of people like that, and some people don't, right? So because the finish is more on the subtle side, and again, I'm not here saying like, oh, it lacks pigment. I believe this is how it is supposed to be, and they feel very nice. They swatch very nice, but it's harder for me to judge if they are fading, if they really changed with that lighter color to begin with. But I'm gonna say that they didn't. That's my interpretation, but as I always say, I don't struggle with like blushes and bronzers fading on me for whatever reason. So if you like this type of blush, you will like these. And I gave these a 5 out of 5 stars. It's a little pot with a twist off lid. And the shades are Cherry Spritz and Sweet Rose. So overall, what do I think about these things? It's a cute collection. Ioni at least does things that are very cohesive and well done for the most part. I really like the melting lip balms. That's going to be the product that I'm going to reach for again, the shortcake shade. I am panning. I am fully emptying the setting spray right now. It's a perfectly good everyday setting spray. I will definitely try the Shimmer Chocolate Stick again. I'd love to use the brow pencils again. I mean, I added them, to my brow pencil collection. So all in all, I have kept everything from this collection except for the pink and the white eyeshadow sticks. So that says a lot. I try to, I buy all this makeup. I try not to keep everything and, be really critical of what I don't think I'm going to use again. You can't donate used lip products, so I'm stuck there. But be critical and definitely put things in the donation bin, especially the $1.25 stuff I don't have to feel so bad about. So if I'm keeping all of that, needless to say, I do think it's pretty good. I don't reach for soft blur matte lipsticks that much, even when I was for years and years and years and do, the matte lip look. It's just not something that I personally gravitate to, but I think they're very nice. I think the blushes are great if you want a more subtle cream blush, absolutely. The setting spray is fine. The primer is normal. It's just not delivering on the claims of being a gripping primer. The shadow sticks, I'm just sitting here shaking my head. Moment of silence, man. Shimmer Chocolate just narrowly escaped that disaster, but it could be disastrous another day. And it just is what it is. So the collection is very wearable, casual, soft. Nothing here is like boom, bam, crazy professional makeup artistry. It's okay. It's fun. It's everyday beauty. We have cute packaging. We have formulas that aren't too intimidating. And a lot of days we like that. That's nice to have. So that's that. That's the Ioni Cherry collection. So next I still have La Dolce Vita. So maybe I'll be able to do that next. I don't know. I also picked up LA Colors Beauty in Bloom. But there's 2 products that were sold out. So I'm going to try to get those before I do that collection. There's also another LA Colors collection. I passed on it. I can't even remember the name, but they had it next to Beauty in Bloom. It had more eyeliner stamps. I have their star stamp. It's great. So they're definitely good. But it had these like shimmer paint-like things and these highlighter sticks. I think they were kind of like a Maybelline Instant Age Rewind concealer kind of situation with the tip. I don't know. It just didn't speak to me. I'm not going to buy everything. I reserve the right not to buy everything, but it just Didn't seem like a collection that I was going to really be into, but it's there. I saw it. Yeah. Other life updates, and then I'll go. So last time I talked about the weather, I just cannot believe it. I can't. So, we're pretty well into May, and usually at this point, you can wear a short sleeve shirt. You don't need a jacket when you go outside. Uh, it's not sweltering hot. Like I said, it doesn't get hot until Memorial Day, and it's 90 degrees. But oh my gosh, it is so weird this year. It is in the 50s every single day, lots of rain. The rain just makes it feel colder, but for the foreseeable future, I'm staring at the forecast, or the 10-day forecast. It is in the 50s with lots of rain. So my window is closing to do my yard work. And even if I wasn't having a party, and who knows, maybe it'll rain. It still is kind of absurd that in the month of May you can't get your outside ready for the season. But that window is closing to get that work done and have that align with my schedule as well. And I've been living here for a few years now. I've had a party every year, knock on wood. I have no wood by me. It has not rained. So, if I'm having people outside, obviously I got to set up. But I don't know what I'm going to do if they have to be inside. I just don't have that, arrangement of my house in that way to, have that many people. I don't do a lot of entertaining in that way. So I don't know where they're going to sit and what's going to go on there. Yeah. And if you've been here a bit longer, for several months, you're also aware of my sagas with power outages. Oh my gosh, I hate to even just bring it up, but the last big one, which I'm sure I talked about in a podcast somewhere, was January 2nd. It was ridiculous. Almost the whole city was out. And my understanding is it was just some sort of, there was a car accident, but something happened at a substation, and there were just a lot of issues going on. But I don't know. We made it 3 months, you guys. 3 months. It almost seemed to be a repeat of last time. And it's so scary because when it happened on January 2nd, I was literally in the bathroom. I was getting ready to take a shower. I was in there. I had the door closed. I spun around, faced the door. Boom. I was in pitch black. And if I wasn't dilly-dallying and chatting, it probably would have, time-wise, ended up being that same exact way again. It was Sunday night. So it was May 3rd. So, May 3rd versus January 2nd. The lights do this really weird, like they're threatening to go out, fade out. It was really freaky. And then they all went out, and that was that. But however, this time it wasn't out for 12 hours. It was out for, went out somewhere around 8:30-ish, 8:40, and it was back just around 11 p.m. And you know what I'm mad about? I never even got the outage texts. I'm signed up for them. I always get them. I got nothing this time. I never get emails. I think I get emails now, but I never get outage emails because my account said that my email wasn't verified. Well, how the hell did I set up the account and I get the bills and everything? I don't know. These companies make not a lick of sense to me. So never even got any alerts, but it looks like it had looked at the time. The entire south side was out, and quite a few of us up my way were out as well. And never get an answer. If you try to go on Facebook and get an answer and, kind of get an understanding of what's going on, you find out nobody knows. And people say all these different wacky ass things that aren't actually true. And then you find it in the newspaper. And then you find out it's very anticlimactic. I'm going to look it up right now. I'm going to see if there's any information about it. So that was that. And don't you know, the power always goes out right after I grocery shop. And I got fresh meat in the fridge. It never fails, right? So I'm panicking if it's not back by morning and I got to do this and do that and get the fridge ready. And I know every online article says you cannot have food in the fridge for more than 4 hours. On the January 2nd thing, it was in there all night. So I don't think we hit a full 12 hours, but I got up in the morning and I emptied the fridge and I threw it all outside on my front porch in the freezing weather. I ate all that food, the eggs, the whole bit. Nothing happened to me. Nothing was wrong with the food. So, take that information with a grain of salt, but at least I know If you keep the doors shut, how long things actually do last. And it's an old refrigerator. It's as old as can be. So I'm looking to see if there was anything published in the newspaper about the damn power outage. But I don't see anything. I see the article about January 2nd. They said vehicle accident that ended up damaging electrical equipment. So that's fun. You know, I live in a very chaotic place. Let me see. Looks like. Is this even us? Why did this come up on Google? Google's a trip, man. I don't know. I'm not finding any information about it. I've talked enough. I gotta go to bed. So that's it. That's the cherry collection. I'll see you. I'll hear you some other time.